Hey guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts, number 265, knowing Clatcher and Steam networking. I'm joined by Afflixion again.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, so, yeah, this is an interesting one. It has to do a lot with, like, terminology and like the terminology of things in game, not like super technical terminology, but just, how they should word and call things in game. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that you think about all the time, and you know what action you're thinking of. But then when you go, like when they come to ask you, like, what do you call this action?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get dozens of different answers from different people.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so this first part is by Abrogado. Today I want to discuss some common problems that we see in video games. Inconsistent terminology. When I asked out loud, so what is an intermediate product anyway, I got a similar reaction as when someone mentions the Berlin interpretation, which I'm not aware of what that actually is, at a roguelike convention. So what is an intermediate product? Well, it's a product that is used only as an ingredient for something else. No, that's not right, because science packs are not used in any recipe. So what then? Intermediate products are just things that you can use productivity modules on. Perhaps they are simply items that can be found in intermediate crafting tab. Then they are not intermediate recipes. um, right. So to give another example, answer these questions. So we can just answer these. Name the action a player performs when they add an entity to the world. And my first
I
thought was just like place, like placing.
Yeah, I was thinking place, but I know some people use build.
Yeah, you can see here they say build, which is interesting. That I think the reason that wasn't my first thought is because when I think of build, I think of actually like constructing something on the spot, like like building a house or like building a shed or something. Whereas like if you just have like a pre-built shed, you get a Home Depot or something, and then put it there like you would with an assembler, that's what I would consider placing. Um, so I don't know. I think build totally works. It's just not. I don't know. Maybe it's like a difference in like language or culture or something.
Yeah, it could even be translation issues. But I mean, that's part of what they're getting at here is that this is a really common action, but what is the official term for it?
Right. Name the action a player performs when they remove an entity from the world. I mean, remove, uh, pick
Remove,
up,
deconstruct, pick
deconstruct.
up.
Just
Mine. I think the official term is mine.
yeah. I think mine. Yeah, which I think is not. Well, I think that's kind of weird because you don't actually mine any of these things except for ore and trees and rocks. But um, name the action a player performs when they add a ghost entity to the world. That one's kind of weird. Ghost placing.
I personally would say blueprint,
Well,
but
yeah, blueprint. Yeah,
that's also like the blueprint item itself.
right. And then okay, so then name the action a robot performs when they add an entity to the world. I mean, same thing as a person, pretty much, right?
Place or
Place,
build.
build, and name the action a robot
And then I
performs
think,
when they remove it. Yeah,
yeah, I think the official term for when a robot does it is construct.
construct, which robots appear and build engines that wait the player plays buildings and builds. Yeah, see, it's very weird because why is it a robot constructs but a player doesn't? Or because it's basically the same thing. It's just being done by two different people, or two. Well, not he's not a person, a robot, but you know, it's not
Yeah,
like the
and
robot
that's pretty much
yeah,
what they're getting at with this section of the Friday Facts
right,
is that this terminology is inconsistent. We need to find like a baseline for it.
right, exactly. So this all leads into a discussion about what is an item and what are entities, and that discussion leads us to the next point: internal nomenclature leaking out. During game development, it is very common to use internal names to refer to mechanics, items, or characters. It does not feel like such a big deal, and many early access games simply ignore the problem completely. I'm not going to point any fingers, but if you look, you will find some examples. Oh wait, here is some from your favorite early access game. When you hover over an entity, useful detailed information appears in the top right hand corner of the screen. Internally, things that exist on a surface in the game are called entities. All these items are capsules internally, but only 5 of them are actually labeled as capsules. Right, so yeah, I mean that makes sense. It is actually pretty
terminology leaking out.
Yeah, pretty inconsistent there. Really, these should be categorized by how players use them, and indeed there's an attempt to do so. Remotes are items used to trigger an effect. Grenades are things you throw, but why is a poison capsule not called a gas grenade? There are more inconsistent...
That is a good question, actually. Why is it not called a gas grenade?
Well, right, exactly. It's like, I mean, it's a grenade that just does gas instead of explosions. Yeah, it's very, very strange. There are more inconsistencies, but to keep this article reasonably not short, I will let you find the others yourself and to save something for a future Friday Facts about tooltips. Now, why change? You might be thinking this is not a big problem. Some of those might be thinking the problem is too pervasive to bother changing. There are a few reasons why it is important. The first and most important of which is our quality mindset. Everyone on the team here wants the game to be as great as possible. Next, we should see this increase the quality of the translations. A translation is only as good as its source, and having a consistent usage of words can go a long way to helping translators do better work. The effect of this can be increased by providing a dictionary of important words to the translators so they can be sure to always use the same term in all places.
Yeah, that's pretty important. Like for the core game concepts, you want the terms used in every language to be consistent across the entire game.
Right. Yeah, it's really important. So, since we're working on a guide experience, the campaign, this would also help us give more clean instructions as a player. An example of confusion here would be if one quest says place a chest and another says place the item in the chest. The player needs to read the entire quest caption probably twice. You can never build up a mental map of our language. This leads to the player spending more mental energy, cognitive load while playing the game. Changing this to build a chest and being consistent allows the player to create mental shortcuts, meaning the quest takes tasks require less effort to understand.
Yeah, this is a good argument for standardizing all the language across the game. And I think we're getting close, well, quote, getting close to 1.0. So this is actually a really good time to be doing something like this, especially since the game is not officially released.
Right, exactly. Yeah, definitely getting this worked out before 1.0 is important. So finally, consistency in terminology will help new players, and I don't just mean sub 1 hour playtime players. Factorio is a big game, and players are encountering new items and concepts in text for a long time. And I'm going to exit full screen so we can look at this. How many hours did you play before you discovered this helpful trick? Right-clicking the assembler and left-clicking request your chest that sets the items to what you want. Although I think
I found that out like way early in my playtime, but that's because I was watching you.
Right, yeah.
So when did you find that out?
I didn't find that out for quite a while. I mean, I think I found it out not too long before making a video about it. There was a long time I didn't know about that. Or this second one. Today I learned you can use num plus and num minus to place more or less tiles at once. This one I did know for a very long time.
Yeah, I think that one I discovered pretty early on. I think maybe I looked at the controls or something and I studied them. Or...
Yeah, I mean, I think both of these are in the controls. It's just not many people look through the entire menu, or even if they do, it's a very extensive controls menu, so it's easy to like overlook stuff.
Yeah, and I'm weird like that. I look at the controls for everything before I start playing a game.
I usually do as well, yeah. So how to change? We can make the vocabulary consistent with what the current player base uses. This option sounds pretty good until I started asking people questions similar to those I asked you at the beginning of the article. Here are another two as a refresher. Where do biters come from? My first thought is biter nests.
Yeah, biter nest. I think the official term is spawner.
Mm-hmm. I come in 7 colors. What am I? Science.
Yeah, science packs.
Yeah. The only wrong answer is
But I
if you
mean,
said
some
there was
people
only
use potions, some people use bottles.
Yeah, yeah. Some people use some very strange names. Beakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the wrong answer is if you said there was only a single right answer. Prepare your Rotten Tomatoes. Ben is about to say something unpopular. The influx of players that are to be expected from 1.0 give us an interesting option. We could theoretically change the vocabulary of the game to be more consistent, reasonable, and generally more helpful players. Then, as a new player joins the community, this new language will slowly replace the old. This would help erase communication between all players, veterans and new addicts alike. Ease, not erase, would help ease. Consistency will also help polish the experience to the level that a player expects from the game. Who should change it? Before our seating jumps in with some awesome news, I would ask you to have your say in this Google form. It'll be fun to see what you come up with, and I will publish results in a few weeks. So, there's a survey you guys can take. Very much encourage you to do so, because it's important feedback for what you guys think stuff should be called and how this terminology should be changed in the game. So definitely go to the Friday Facts, which is linked in the description as always, and go fill out this survey.
Yeah, I took the survey earlier today. It says it's long, but it's only 3 pages.
Yeah, shouldn't take too long. So that this is really, really interesting to think about, this first part. The next part is just really good news. So as many of you might know, if you've tried hosting a standard standalone multiplayer game, Factorio or otherwise, from a home internet connection, it's not a very reliable experience. This can be due to multiple different things: bad home routers, bad company firewalls, etc. So our seeding worked on the Steam networking. I arrived in Prague earlier this week and was given the task of improving that experience through Steam networking support. Basically, he explains it. I don't know that I need to read it, because I think almost anybody who uses Steam knows how this works. Pretty much if you are playing a game or your friend is playing a game on Steam, if you both have the game, you can just join on them, or they can send you an invite through Steam and you just click it and you join without having to do any port forwarding or anything like that. It's a very, very simple, straightforward system.
I ran into the port forwarding issue after I reformatted my computer a few months ago. People couldn't join my games, but I could join theirs.
Was this via how it is now?
Yeah, because when I reformatted the computer, it showed up as a new computer to my router, so I got a different IP address, which means the port forwarding on the router didn't take anymore.
So enabling Steam Network is pretty much what our seeding did. After a few days of working on it and testing, it seems to be working reliably. You can just click Start Multiplayer Game, and anyone on your friends list can join. You can mix non-Steam and Steam players on the same server, and it just works. As a bonus, while working on this, I discovered some issues with the non-Steam networking logic that should improve the could not establish network communication with server error that keeps coming up. So this is super, super good news, because not having
it's more stable.
It's more stable, and honestly, as a game on Steam, having the ability to join through Steam, I think, is a huge benefit. I may just be super out of touch, but it seems like to me that having to port forward for a game and stuff like that is kind of out of date, kind of old times. Until I played Factorio, the last time I had to port forward for a game was in 2008 or something, when I was playing Warcraft 3. Usually games have a better way of doing it than that.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've had to port forward for anything.
Yeah, it's super easy. If you know anything about computers or your modem, it's just that it's kind of a pain to have to do. Just to play a game, so super good news for sure. Overall, really good, interesting Friday Facts. Definitely go fill out that survey. I think that pretty much covers it. Do you have any other thoughts here?
No, not really, other than take the survey.
Yeah, for sure. So it'll
The
be
more data we get in the survey, the better.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see when they publish the results what people said as well.
I know there were quite a few that I selected other and put in my own term for it.
Probably a lot of people will do that, yeah. But yeah, I think that's going to do it, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Leave your thoughts and questions below, and we will see you next time.